ACCUSTATS Video Productions proudly presents MPBA World Class 9-Ball. We're still in Norfolk, Virginia. This is still the U.S. Open, and there's only 2 undefeated players remaining in the tournament, Buddy, Grady. These are my special guests for this match, Buddy Hall and Grady Mathews. Those 2 players who are undefeated are none other than Mike Sigel and Nick Varner. Both of these players have just defeated Kim Davenport. Mike Sigel just defeated Kim Davenport. Nick Varner has just defeated the man to my right, Buddy Hall. Both of these players have played extremely well throughout this event, and in their last match, played just about flawlessly. Grady, how do you see this match coming down?
Well, 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. Certainly, you've got 2 of the winningest players of all time. And as you know, 9-ball is a game that has, in my estimation, about 85–90% luck. So the balls will have to roll, and we'll just have to see what happens. Now, we do have 2 gentlemen here who refuse not to have a shot on the lowest numbered ball when they break the balls. Now, how they succeed at that escapes me.
I guess
certainly they're successful at that, and they do play championship pocket billiards.
Okay, well, anyways, Jeff Carter made a statement to me before he left the booth. I asked him who he liked in this upcoming match. His answer was simply this: I like the player who wins the lag. Well, that player is Nick Varner. He's won the lag.
Well, he does have a, what did he make? He pocketed 3 balls in the break, straight into the deuce now. If you noticed in the Davenport match, Mike Sigel had a shot every time he made a ball on the break. The only time there was not a shot available is when it was Kim's turn at the table.
That's exactly right. The break on this particular table seems to be so important that you have to play a controlled break. I think power is just really secondary when you put the emphasis on how you should be breaking the balls. I think that the controlled break on this particular table is such more of a factor opposed to powering the break.
Well, the break's going to be the telling point in this match, I'm sure. In fact, the table breaks so well that there aren't really any real tough runouts.
Okay, buddy, this is a relatively simple run out. Exactly how would you play these balls?
Well, I believe I'd draw. I hate to follow the ball here on this particular equipment. I'd draw it 2 reels, play the 5 in the side, and 8 in this corner, and 9 in this corner over here. And he got a little above it, he might have got straight in enough on it. I don't know.
Well, that certainly was one of the requirements if you chose to draw the ball, making sure you got on the right side of the 5. If you fall short on that ball, then you would have to go down table and back up for the 8. So if you would choose to draw the ball, then you have to make sure you get on the right side of the 5, which in fact he did. If he pockets the 8, draws the ball slightly back for the 9, he'll capture the first game of the match, take a 1-0 lead in the match. He won the lag. Jeff Carter wants Nick Varner in this particular match. He wants the winner of the lag to win this particular match. Did Steve Mizrak defeat Tony Robles 11 games to 9?
Yes, he did.
Well, that means that Steve Mizrak and Alan Hopkins will pair up. I don't know if they're going to match up right now, but that will be the matchup. And that will be an interesting game in itself. 2 players that hail from the New York, New Jersey area. They played one another a countless number of times. I don't know who has the edge in that matchup. Do you happen to know, buddy?
The matchup with who?
Alan Hopkins and Steve Mizrak.
Well, I believe I'd give, right now, this minute, I'd give Alan a slight edge because of the weight factors. They've both been playing all day long. Alan's the smaller of the 2, so he figures to be in a little better shape. So I'd have to give the advantage to Alan Hopkins.
And I'd have to agree exactly because of that reason. In the meantime, Nick Varner had broken the balls for the 2nd consecutive time, pocketing a ball in the break again for the 2nd consecutive time. This time the cue ball got away from him, and he's located the cue ball on the bottom rail here.
Victory's 2-11 favored, and we're going to see Nick Varner go to the jump shot here, I believe.
He may bring Shorty out here. Oh, he's going to use his own cue. He's going to use his own cue.
Just right for that.
Yeah, he made sure he made it. That shot, Grady, what do you think about the jump shot in pocket billiards today?
Well, I don't know, buddy. I think it's a crowd-pleasing weapon. I've lost so many games to it that I'm in a state of shock. I don't know what to think about it.
Do you
I mean,
feel
it
like
seems to me
do you
that
feel like you should get a jump cue?
every
or
time my opponent uses a jump cue, they either snooker me or rat one in. So, and plus that, I don't know how to use it. So obviously, I don't care much for it.
Well, I don't know what you can.
But as usual, I'm in the minority, so I don't know what to say.
Well, it seems like you if they're not going to outlaw the jump cue, or if they're not going to ban the jump cue, you have to have one in self-defense.
Well, when I started to play this game, I looked at all some of the great old-time champions: Eddie Taylor, Marcel Camp, Johnny Beavis, Johnny Irish, and people like that. And I tried to model some of my safety play and position play after their terrific games. And I wonder what they'd have thought if they had to fade the jump cue. When I started playing, I didn't think I'd ever have to look at anything like that.
Well, it's just come along in the last 2 or 3 years. Do you think that maybe they would have gotten a jump cue, or do you think they would have stuck to their guns?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's probably a good thing. Anything that the audience likes, I think, is ultimately a good thing for the sport. That's what's important. And a jump cue, it's really not any more devastating than watching somebody normally rat a ball in, so I don't know what difference it makes.
Well, meanwhile, Nick Varner is politely proceeded to run out here. He looks like all he's got to do is shoot the 7 in, hit one rail, come up for the 8, shoot the 8 in, stop his cue ball. He's going to draw his ball around 2 rails. Many times in this tournament. Oops. He's still straight in. He hit the 8 going around. He wanted to get straight in on this corner, but he'll take that one.
And many times the audience thinks that that's played that way. But really, that would have been a little unlucky not to get a good shot on the 8, even though it did hit it.
Oh, well, I guess you people have thought I've disappeared. I really haven't. I just wanted to let my friend Buddy and Grady converse with one another and explain what happened during this particular mirac. And in the meantime, Nick Varner has a 2-0 lead in the match. He's broken the balls twice, pocketing balls on each of those breaks, and has refused to let Mike Sigel at the table.
And Jeff Carter's prediction may have been prophetic.
Oh, that's exactly right. The winner of the lag does have a decisive edge on this particular equipment, and I think that Jeff Carter is right on with his prediction.
You know, I analyze and scrutinize and agonize over these matches, sometimes placing a sizable wager. I calculate the strengths and weaknesses of the prospective opponents, and I'm invariably wrong. Can you explain that, sir?
Well, maybe you're doing something wrong with your analyzation of things. You know, maybe you have things backwards, you know.
Well, Grady, I can tell you this. If you're wrong all the time, what you need to do is figure out who the best player is and then bet the other way.
You know something, buddy? That's really profound because a lot of people bet sports like that. They take a look at a line and they say, well, this game looks like it can't lose. Then all they have to do is bet against it because anytime something looks like it can't lose, very rarely wins.
Well, the sniveling, pulling power of the smarts on the sideline is oftentimes too strong. I mean, it surmounts all obstacles. So if I bet against the smarts, I've got that awesome, intangible, enigmatic force against my man, and it's too potent to offset.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that works even better than that. It's collecting juice on your money. In the meantime, I think Nick Varner has broken the balls for the 3rd consecutive time, pocketing a ball on the break. He has a fairly difficult shot on the 1, and with also a difficult position on the 2. No question about it, he's going to go for the hole here.
He's going to go around the 6, I think, and possibly pocket the 1 in the same pocket as the deuce.
I believe he might play the 2 in the opposite corner pocket. It looks like that type of angle. He don't want to roll that ball. He would go ahead and hit it.
Yeah, I would have a tendency to agree with what Buddy had mentioned, that he would pocket the 2 in the other pocket. And, well, anyways, he missed the 1 ball. That is the first ball that could have been pocketed that he did miss. Now, this is the first opportunity Mike Sigel has had at the table. And Mike Sigel has performed extremely well in the prior match with Kim Davenport. Let's see if he can get back to that winning way here against Nick Varner. He needs to play flawlessly against Nick because Nick displayed such skills when he defeated the man to my right, Buddy Hall.
It's going to be a great match. It's going to be give and take
figures
all
to
the
be a
way, I
great match.
suspect. Got a little problem here, though. I don't think I think he's got a little too much angle to draw over where he can see around a 3 ball, he's going to have to do something a little different here.
I think he's just going to play off the side rail and back out above the 3. He may not even hit it hard enough to get to the side. I don't know. Yeah, he did, to the side and above the 3. He's going to have to try to.
Well, I don't really like his position here. He's going to have to go in between the 4 and 8, I believe, here, or maybe between the 9 and 8 and spin around the 8. I don't really like
9 and 4.
Yeah, well, I don't know. From this angle, I can't tell whether he can go between the 9 and 4. I believe he can go between the 9 and 4.
It's playing perfect here. Come up 1 cushion for position on a 3.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys a question here, okay? Now, the last 2 times these 2 players met was in the finals in the BC Open in Binghamton, New York. And at that time, Nick Varner was on a tear. You know, he had won just about every tournament he entered. He was in the finals against Mike Sigel. Now, this is when Mike Sigel went through that terrible drought that he had, all right? And, you know, finally he was in the finals again, once again, this time with Nick Varner. Now, he defeated Nick Varner in that tournament. Is that going to have any bearing on the outcome of this match?
It may have. It may have. Nick seems to me like he's playing just a little faster than he did when he played me. He looks like he's rushing things a little bit, so he might be slightly nervous at the prospect of that happening again. I'd say there's a chance that he is a little nervous of that.
So go ahead, Grady.
I think it means less than nothing. I think Nick feels that he's playing the best pool of anybody in the world, and I don't think he's frightened of anybody. And I want to tell you a cute story. Buddy, who's sharing commentary duties with us here on this terrific match, he and I had a talk some years ago. So a particular player had beaten him a few times in a row, and he was really discouraged. And he let 4 or 5 people hear about it. And I called him up at his room later that night, and I said, Buddy, in the opinion of most experts, you're the greatest 9-ball player that ever lived. I hate to see you admit to another human being that you think another player can beat you. I said, I wouldn't even tell your wife that if you had doubts. And he thought about it and agreed I was right, and he proceeded to beat the guy like 6 times in a row.
Well, if I was Buddy, I think I would take you as a manager. No question about it. Maybe that's your spot in life, and you've been, you missed the boat. Meantime, you're trying to do all this handicapping.
I'm an excellent shaft man. I mean, I keep it polished, and I'll tell you another thing I'm good at that some of these valets can't do. If you're playing in a gambling match, for an example, you say, Grady, I need another 800. Well, that's like a 6-minute job.
Okay, Grady. After game number 3, Mike Sigel does get on the board, trails in the match 2 games to 1. The break is so important on this table. You know, I don't think that the break has been worth more on any other table that I've ever seen than it is on this table right here.
I've never seen balls fly in like this just all day. Just all day long. This particular table here, whoever plays on it makes balls on the break.
Have you noticed everybody's breaking from about the same place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody is breaking from the same place for the last 3 matches.
And that makes sense, too, in some ways. Dallas West does something I've never seen any other pool player do, and, of course, he's not playing like he did years ago. But what he does is this. He breaks from the exact same place his opponent breaks from every single time he plays somebody. And in that manner, he feels like if his opponent's making balls, he should be making balls unless he's having a rack put to him.
What if his opponent's not making balls? He still breaks from the same place?
He still breaks from the same place.
Well, that's kind of unusual. I really don't want to get into that. I'd rather just go ahead and do the commentary on this particular match here. That's really too involved. Meantime, Mike Sigel trails in the match 1 game to 2 at the table with a quite difficult shot on the 1 ball. If I believe the correct pocket to play the 1 ball would be in the lower right-hand pocket on as far as looking at the monitor.
If so, I'm sure he'll miss it on the thick side if he happens to not quite.
And what side is the thick side? Is that the short rail side or the long rail?
The end rail side.
The short rail side. So therefore, Grady says that if he misses this ball in the pocket, it'll be to the short rail side.
Well, there is no short rail. The playing surface is 50 by 100 inches, and the rails are all of equal length.
I'm just going to kill you, Grady. That's the only chance I have.
I feel a lot here at this show like squabbling over technicalities.
Every time you lose 2 or 3 bets in a row, how come I'm never right?
Where's he going to play the 2, Grady?
Well, he can play the 2 up in the far left-hand corner, assuming he pockets the 1.
I'd say that's exactly what he's going to do.
You know, this is one of your better shots, buddy. I've seen you come with this shot a few hundred times. I think a little more than pocket speed, maybe enough to get another foot out of the hole if you should happen to miss.
I think what he should do here is play position speed on this particular. It looks like it's a natural shot if he hits it that speed.
Yeah, it is. The cue ball's going to go right below the deuce.
Just shoot the cue ball toward the end rail. Looks like center ball to get him right down there.
And Mike, to take nothing away from his greatness, one of the accomplished shot makers in the history of this time-honored and difficult sport.
Position speed, buddy, is that what you said?
That's what I said.
And I've got to say at this juncture that those of us who struggle so ineptly are disgusted by the fact that those type of shots never seem to hit a rail when a Mike Sigel or a Buddy Hall hits them.
That's exactly right, Grady. And playing up here in the booth, I would have played it exactly the same way.
Yeah, I'm like Billy. I play awful well from up here.
Now, you're being a little bit modest, buddy. I've been watching you play now for many years, and you're playing right now is maybe as good as you played when you were a skinny kid back in the Johnson City days.
Oh, in Johnson City days, I'm probably playing better than I played then.
Well, you
A
know.
little after that, I don't know. Shreveport days, it's hard to play better than I played then.
Yeah,
That's right. I visited you down in Shreveport. I seen your smiling face when I came in, and I left seeing your smiling face.
Billy, you've got to hear this story. Just take a second, as Mike has an apparently simple routine out. Right after you left Shreveport, I came there, and when I got through playing, buddy, I played him for a week. They posted a sign over the pool room door. Now this is a cute story. The sign said, "Don't come here and miss any balls, because there have been those who came here and didn't miss and failed to win." And they were referring to me. I mean, we played some 9-ball.
Yeah, I can imagine you guys did. Because one thing about you and Buddy, you love to play the game, and it wouldn't be anything for you guys to get hooked up and play for maybe a day or two.
We played for a week. We played for a solid week down there. Every match went 11-10, 11-10, 11-10.
Well, did you notice how he hit this ball? I mean, he came up very short, and being left-handed creates much more of a problem. If he expects to cut this 8 in the right-hand corner pocket, he's going to have to do so with his right hand, not his left.
Well, Mike's a 100-ball runner right-handed, unbeknownst to most experts. So I don't think this shot's going to create a problem.
Well, I happen to think it is.
He's not going to shoot it right-handed. He's going to.
I mean, if he's
All
not
right,
careful,
boys,
he's going to pull a muscle
Let's
there.
talk. I'll take 6-1. Bet he shoots it right-handed.
Well, I think that he's going to shoot it right-handed. That's what I said. I said he's not going to shoot the shot left-handed because he came short.
No, believe me, he's going to shoot it left-handed. Trust me on that one, folks.
I don't know. These shots where you have to stretch on them, sometimes they're hard to hit accurately. Well, he split the wicket.
Well, he better have brushed that 9, because if he didn't brush that 9, he could end up exactly where he don't want to end up, and that's right here.
Well, he may have an angle. He may have an angle to bank the ball across the side. He may be able to shoot this shot across the side.
He may, but that's certainly not the type of a shot he wanted on this 9. And it may very well be a very, very decent angle, but simply brushing the 9 would have given him a nice shot in the corner or possibly even in the side. But he didn't brush the 9. He has this type of a shot, and let's see how he's going to deal with it. He's shaking his head. He understands he's made a mistake. He stretched over the table, electing to shoot it left-handed opposed to the ambidextrous way of right-handed, like you suggested, Grady.
I know what you'd do with this shot.
Please don't tell me about the duck anymore,
No,
okay?
you'd take a scratch.
Take a scratch.
Forgetting that it's 9-ball and give the guy a ball in hand.
I know what he's going to do here. He's going to play the 9 across the side. He may miss it, but he's going to shoot at it.
Well, I don't see any duck here. Do you, buddy?
No, there is no duck here. He's got to try to make this ball. If he misses it, he misses it. He's got to try to win it.
Well, he played the duck because by hitting it at that speed, you know the 9-ball is going to go long. Because there's the way to create angles. You can create the angle by hitting it harder to shorten the angle.
Well, you know, I got to give Mike credit. Over the years, I've watched him do this time and time again. When he's in a tough spot, he tries to make his opponent's incoming shot absolutely as rough as possible, and he's done that yet again. This is a hard shot.
Well, it's not an easy shot, but considering on this particular angle, if he hits rail on the shot, the pocket will accept it. The table will accept that's this type of a shot if it's hit a little poorly. But he hit it the wrong side of the pocket. He hit the wrong side of the pocket.
He overcut the ball. That's taboo. One thing you don't do is overcut it. On this size, with these size pockets, you do not overcut the ball.
That's exactly right. And he hit on the unprofessional side, which tells me that something is bothering him, and he's really not the same person he was when he played you, Benny.
While we're talking about it,
Exactly right.
there are only two great secrets to know to play championship pocket billiards, and what I'd like to do with you and Buddy is reveal one of them at this moment, and then later in the telecast, I'll tell the second way.
Well, I want to stop you before you do reveal that. You know, there's a lot of viewers out there that are going to have the advantage of hearing this information from you. Are
Well,
you
the
willing
more-
to share it with them?
Yes, I am. The more people that play championship pocket billiards, the better the sport is, ultimately. All right, here's the first half of the magical formula. Never undercut a ball. Now, I'll reveal the second half of the strategy later in the show.
Would it be never overcut a ball?
Oh, you spoiled it.
This friend of mine asked one day, he says, what would I have to do in order to improve my game? And this other guy says, I'll tell you what you can do where you'll beat anybody you play. He said, what's that? He said, don't miss any balls and don't scratch.
And don't miss cue. Well, don't miss any balls. That goes without saying. If you don't miss any balls, even if you do miss cue, you'll still make the ball.
Yeah, don't miss any.
Now, you see what Mike's done by
Yeah, he's
using-
broken the ball successfully again, pocketing the ball on the break and getting a shot on the lowest number ball on the table.
And all of this came about because he used his head on that rough 9-ball shot when he was close to it. Well, he's not happy with that. Buddy, I think that came about because of the object balls being heavier than the cue ball. Everybody's been missing that type of position shot
the wrong way. He should have played one rail there. He should have drawn that ball.
and hit it with that fairly easy stroke.
Right, spin, draw it, spin it a lot.
Well, we're going to see him study here and end up slicing at this ball, I believe.
Well, you think he'll slice this ball in?
I can't hit it thick enough to stick. The ball's a little too far off the rail for a kick shot. I think we're going to see him cut at this.
Well, he might go right behind it and stick right there.
Tough shot, though.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I like to see him cut at this ball like Grady suggested he may, because he's seeing the balls extremely well. This isn't really that difficult of a shot considering how well he's hitting the ball. And a safety here isn't really that easy either. So at least if he executes his shot well, he might win the game.
Well, we're going to see him hit it a little bit on the thick side, I think.
On this equipment here, believe me, he cuts this ball in with a straight center cue ball. He's going to go right straight at that 8 ball, and believe me, that corner pocket's big up there. The way the balls are coming off, he's going to go right at that if he uses center ball.
Well, I think he's going to use a little half a tip of right-hand English on this shot, buddy.
Well, I don't believe he used any English if he's trying to make it, if he's trying to shoot it right in. See, he overcut that ball a lot.
Well, he certainly did overcut it. I think he exercised very good judgment in electing to shoot at the ball. He just hit it a little poorly and overcut the ball. It might prove to be costly, but I think that he had to do something, and then his safety was just as tough as the shot.
I like hitting that shot a little bit on the thick side. If you miss it, you've got a chance to hit the bottom rail, go into the point or a little above it, and the ball ends up roughly in the middle of the table, about 6 inches off the rail. And, of course, the cue ball's up at the other end.
Well, anyways, he finally missed the ball. He overcut it. Nick Varner's at the table. This match is tied up at 2 games apiece.
And it's still anybody's ball game from here.
The match between the 2 women undefeated players in the tournament, Lori John Jones and Mary Kenniston, does anyone have a score on that match?
It's 4-0.
Lori John Jones is ahead of Mary Kenniston 4-0 in that particular match. In the meantime, Nick Varner's at the table shooting the 4 ball. I think he's got an angle where I don't think he wanted this angle, buddy. If he follows the ball, it looks like he's going to go into the 7. If he draws the ball, he's going away from the 5. The only thing I see him doing right now is just stopping the ball, maybe drawing it back maybe 6 inches or so.
He's going to follow it.
He'll follow. He can miss the 7 by following.
He can miss the 7 by following it?
Sure, he'll go right to the right-hand side of the 7, up the table a little bit.
This ball comes off lighter because of the Centennial cue ball. The Centennial balls and the red circle cue ball weigh almost identical. In fact, the red circle may even be a hair lighter, so therefore it glances wider off of any angle. It comes off wider.
You know, I've been wanting to get one of those small scales just specifically for two purposes. One, to weigh cue balls and object balls, and the other to weigh my bankroll.
You need a gram scale, right?
Well, Bucktooth says that he takes his money to the bank and they weigh it when he makes a deposit. It's far too much to count.
Yeah, well, you need a gram scale to weigh your bankroll. Okay, now the combination is probably the shot of choice right here, especially if the 8-ball is slightly off the rail. And if the 8-ball is nearer to the rail, or close to the rail, or even frozen on the rail, would you play the billiard here, or is it still like to play the combination?
No, if it's off the rail. If the 8 was off the rail, I would have played the billiard, so would he. The 8 was close enough to the rail where the combination was almost impossible. And this Spackey made both balls.
Our friend Martin reminded me of a lamentable fact that I was trying to forget. We had a memorable ring game some years ago where we were betting $800 a man. The biggest bet I've seen in the ring game in 8 years of tournament play is $30. And with that out of the way, Billy, continue on with your intellectual observations.
Okay, now that's the first pocket of ball that Mike Sigel has missed in the match, and it seemed like it was quite costly. Now Nick Varner is at the table breaking the balls with a 3-2 advantage in the match. And you can ill afford to give up a break on this equipment, as we witnessed in past matches.
I agree with that, but on what Grady said about that ring game, if he'll just stop and think about it, before that ring game, we all played 20 and 30 and 40 and $50 ring games, and after that ring game, we're still playing 20, 30 and 40 and $50 ring games. That was the only ring game of that proportion that I can ever remember.
No, there were 2 of them, at least. You remember the one Bob Ogman lost his car in that small tournament in Illinois?
500 a man. I played in that one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It may have just been a freak of time.
2 balls on the
and
break.
Circumstance. And if I were Nick here, I'd be feeling good. See, Nick hasn't made an unforced error or, to my knowledge, missed a makeable shot in this match.
Well, he missed the 9-ball in the corner pocket.
Well, that's a hard shot there.
It was a long, tough shot.
I mean, all joking aside, you can watch guys.
I seriously did like his chances of making that shot, though.
I would have liked it if he'd have hit it about twice as hard as he did. I mean, this wool cloth, buddy, when you shoot at pocket speed like Nick did, it doesn't figure to roll real accurately down the table.
No, it doesn't. Why don't they use Simona's cloth?
I don't know. That's a good question. They took a poll some months ago, and a majority of the players preferred the wool cloth, but that sentiment is changing almost daily.
Well, you know, Jeff Carter brought up an interesting point about the Simona's cloth opposed to the wool cloth, or this directional wool or whatever. He said since the introduction of the jump cue into the game, playing on cloth like this, it makes it so easy to jump the balls. So therefore, you know, he's opposed to using the jump cue because he says it takes a lot of the defense away from the game, and I agree with him. So if you're going to be allowed to use the jump cue, why shouldn't we play on the Simona's cloth? Because on Simona's cloth, it's a lot more difficult shot to jump over balls.
It has a lot of advantages provided it's put on the table properly. Now personally, I opt for burlap. That's what I'd like to see on it.
Oh, well, is that before you lose a match or after you lose a match?
Well, let me rephrase it and make it more understandable. Certainly, this innate game of skill and beauty called 9-ball certainly could not be adversely affected.
Well, you know, I think you're really unfair with the way you're talking about the game of 9-ball. You know, just because you lose a match and you feel you've been unlucky, it doesn't mean that the conditions are
No, losing a match and being unlucky doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm a lucky person, Billy. I'm financially fairly secure. I have a doting wife, a wonderful family, thousands of friends. If I happen to think that tournament conditions are subpar and the professional players aren't making the living they deserve, if that be construed as sour grapes, so be it.
Well, since I've realized that you are financially successful or secure, can I make a loan of like a 300?
You can always make a loan for me. My office is open. However, I do have a new policy, and since I started enforcing it, I've been a lot happier, richer person. I no longer will loan anybody any more than 1.5 times the most I ever got from them. No more will I borrow 200 from a guy 18 years ago and then he borrows 5,000 from me.
Anybody broke the balls this set without making a ball on the break?
No.
That's correct. In the meantime, since Mike Sigel had overcut the 3-ball, Nick Varner has run 2 consecutive racks. Actually 3, considering the ball that he missed in that rack. But you're correct, buddy. Every rack that has been broken in this match, at least 1 or 2 balls have been pocketed.
Every rack the match that I played, a ball was made. Every rack except 2 when Sigel and Davenport played, and every rack this set. That's 3 matches and 2 games. There was a ball not pocketed in 3 sessions, a race to 11.
What do you think about
That's unbelievable. That's an unbelievable stat there.
What do you think about the feeling of some of the pros, buddy, about lengthening these matches out to maybe 15 or 16 games?
Well, I think it's wonderful.
I do too. You look at all the other sports, they're usually of about a 3-hour duration. You take golf, it takes 4 or 5 hours. Football, baseball, hockey, they all take at least 2 or 3 hours. And yet the professional pool players are relegated to an 11-game race.
I think they should play. I'll tell you what I think would be a good test would be a race to 11, 2 out of 3 sets.
I've heard other people say that. I think that would make a terrific tournament like that.
And you wouldn't have to play you know what I mean? You'd need to play a complete set though, so you'd have to be in pretty good physical shape.
Well, most of these pool players are. Let's face it. I see several guys in the room over 40 who can still play about 50 hours.
You know, like tennis, it's race to 5 or 6 sets. Some tournaments it's 5 best out of 5. Some tournaments it's best out of 6.
Well, myself, I like to see a race to 4, 2 out of 3 sets. I think get over fast, and it's more exciting, and I have a chance to win that way.
Yeah, but I believe you would rather see the longer sets. Bill, you love to play pool.
But how can we put long sets on these tapes? I mean, that's getting a little too long for tapes. That's too long for television. Let's keep it in the right perspective. I think for television we need to play shorter sets because that's something that they require.
That's one of the biggest problems with the sport, anyways. We've had inept promoters who allowed television producers to tell them exactly what to do instead of presenting the sport in its proper perspective and elevating it to sportsdom's highest honors.
Well, see, I don't know a lot about the networks and things, and I don't know what makes them click. I don't know if we have the say-so or they have the say-so. I don't know much about the TV. So far, we haven't had a lot of TV exposure. We've had, quite a bit here in the last couple of years, but just one tournament.
Buddy, I got to tell you
I'd like to see Richie Florence, somebody like Richie Florence, crank back up where we had 2 or 3 tournaments a year. Big, nice prize money. I thought Richie had the best tournaments. And he had television, but it was a short race, but they were still good.
We're missing the boat in so many ways, buddy. How can we not have a sitcom based in a pool room? That would be the funniest and best comedy to ever be shown on television.
Oh, what?
A situation comedy shown on TV. Can you imagine the wealth of characters, the story possibilities?
Detroit Whitey, Cornbread Red.
Well, they were going to do a movie about Cornbread Red, but they couldn't find anyone with enough talent to play the role.
And this is game number 7. Nick Varner is running out in fashionable style, and now leads in the match 5 games to 2.
And Cornbread, now that you mentioned him, he's got an amazing talent. He harnesses whoever has the most money in any given room, and he waits until they do something. They're not leaving his side until they do something.
One of the old greats. Now, let's how many balls do you think he'll make? It's no longer a possibility of Willie. It's how many.
Okay, I agree with that. Now, if I was to put an over and under on balls pocketed, and you had to lay 6 to 5, okay, I would put it up at 2 balls either over. No, excuse me, 2 balls is a push. You either bet over 1 and lay 6 to 5, or 2 and lay 6 to 5.
Boy, it just goes.
There's 2 balls
Shooting in
pocket
that
on the break.
corner.
See, 2 balls is about the average here. 2 balls on the break. I think that I'll take 2 and give up 1 on the next break. I think that's what I'll do.
Well, he's got a tremendous shot here to lead off with. This is almost as good as having straight in on the one. He's got enough room here to hit this ball, I think, and just stick right there. I think he can hit the one full in the face and stick his cue ball.
That would be very unsportsmanlike, leading 5-2 to do that to your opponent.
Yes, but it would even be more unsportsmanlike not doing it and doing it to yourself.
I think Nick wants to be fair about it and give Mike a nice shot. Well, I was wrong.
Okay, well, I believe he's left Mike Rail to kick at here, so therefore Mike isn't totally, in jail. I think
No, you can bet he didn't mean to do that either.
No, he should have hit that ball a little harder than that, but I guess he was afraid of losing the cue ball if he would hit a little harder, so therefore he elected to hit it at a speed where he could control the cue ball.
You know, you could almost liken Mike Sigel to Houdini, the number of times he's escaped situations like this.
Well, he can see the ball directly. He can go right at it, it appears.
I believe you're right. If that's the case, he may go into the back
He
of the
could go
four.
right into the ball and stick right there with a high ball. He'll probably try to do that, hit it almost full and stick right behind those 2 balls.
The danger, of course, being you don't want to hit it so hard that the one comes back down the table.
You'd have to really hammer it on this equipment to get it to come back down.
He's gotten away with it, I think. He's going to park him behind the 3, something he didn't intend on doing, but he'll accept it.
He played one of Grady's favorite shots. He got lucky.
Yes,
Grady loves to see someone get lucky.
I do like it when I'm not the recipient of it. No,
That was a very fortunate shot there. Nicky is at a really a disadvantage here. All he can do is blast at this ball. He's got no safety. All he can do is make sure he tries to hit it on the nose and get lucky.
And hit it he shall. He's one of the great kickers in the sport. And he hasn't left much of a shot here.
No, he hasn't, and I don't know if Mike Siegel's going to go after this bank or not. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Mike Siegel go after this bank right here.
Nah, he'll thin that 1 and come down behind the 2.
I
I
don't know.
believe that's the shot. I believe he'll thin this ball and come.
Well, considering he has to stretch on the shot, I think now that he'll elect to play your shot, buddy.
Sure, Mike. Now you're going to shoot this one right-handed and make me look like a jackass predicting you do it last time.
And I'm sure he'll shoot it right-handed, but I don't know for sure what he'll do. I believe he's going to nip it and try to come down behind the 2.
Well, the speed of the shot really doesn't lay to come behind the 2. If he does that, I think he'll sell out the 1 if he doesn't get behind the 2. I think he's going to just, I don't know. I mean, he has quite a few options here, buddy. He can try to get behind the 8, too, possibly.
If he comes in just above the side pocket, there's a chance he can land down behind the 2 and the 4. That's the shot. I don't know if that's what he'll shoot, but I'm sure that's the shot.
Well, if he tries to get the cue ball behind the 2, the 1 ball might get away from him, and he can ill afford that to happen, because if he doesn't get him behind the 2, he's going to sell out.
Yeah, he needs to play a good solid safety here and get back in this match.
Well, that's the only option I see.
Well, let me ask you something. Why not bank the ball, go 2 rails underneath the 8? If he misses the bank on the 1 ball, maybe it'll go back up the table. He'll go 2 rails around the 8, maybe in back of the 2. He might even be able to get a hook off of the shot if he misses the bank, but not with the bridge. He can't do it with the bridge.
Well, I don't know what he's shooting at. He may be trying to bank the ball. He may be shooting your
He could
shot,
bank
but
it
he'll
up
stay
there by
on the
the
top
3.
side.
Yeah, but I'm not going to bank it with the bridge. I'm going to bank it right-handed. He's an excellent opposite hand player. If I'm going to bank this ball, it's going to be with my right hand, not with the bridge.
I still believe the shot is try to get the cue ball behind the 4 down here. He's looking at the bank. He's looking at the bank like he's going to shoot the bank, I guess.
Hey, if you notice, Mike Sigel is using the bridge, and he's using it with his right hand opposed to his left, and that's very unusual. He plays with his left hand. He shoots with the bridge with his right hand.
Not
Yes,
as
he does.
unusual
Well,
as
he's
you might
naturally.
think.
See, Mike is naturally right-handed. The only thing he does left-handed is play pool. He's a natural right-handed person.
Does he play golf right-handed?
Everything that he does in life except play pool, he does it with his right hand. so does Dennis Hatch.
Well, see, I played gin right-handed, and I've always found it to be quite an advantage.
I cannot believe that that was the right shot. I just cannot. The only good thing that can happen with that shot is you have to make it.
Well, you know, I like the shot, but I liked him shooting it with his right hand. I didn't like him shooting it with the bridge. With his right hand, he could have put a little stroke on the ball, and you know, if he would have hit it halfway decent, the pocket would have accepted the shot. The one ball didn't even make the pocket. That's why I didn't like shooting it with the bridge.
I know, but like I said, it's a very low percentage shot to make. I guarantee you'll be lucky to make it a third of the time, and if you don't make it, you're dead. You sell out.
If you could reach it properly, that percentage would probably go up to 60 or 70%, though, right?
Do you think?
I think so, sure.
Yeah.
I've watched you rip a many of them straight back.
Well, that particular shot there, I still believe that you should. See, Mike's behind 5. The reason I think Mike may have shot that is because he's behind 5-2, and he feels like from here he needs to be shooting instead of ducking. Is what I honestly believe that's the only reason that he shot that ball.
Well, I happen to agree with you 100%, buddy. What I've always tried to do is analyze the percentages, and the way I saw that shot is roughly like you did about making it, if you're lucky, a third of the time. But the safety, I would have felt like I could execute that probably 80-85% of the time.
Right. Just get the cue ball back down below the 2. Just don't hit the 2. Get past the 2, and you're pretty well safe. If the 5, I believe the 5 goes by the 9, I'd say his next shot he's going to have to hit with a low right-hand ball. I believe he'll hit it low right. This shot here he'll hit with a high center ball, and then his next shot I believe he'll have to hit with a low right and come back to the opposite side of the table for the 8 ball.
He'll just draw this back past the side, I think.
Right. A little low right and bring him up. He'll probably try to stay just barely above the side. I don't think he'll try to go all the way to the end rail.
Well, I can't argue with you being the greatest position player in the game today, but there wouldn't be anything wrong with going down to the end rail, except that. But of course, I thought he may have a little better cue ball control than that.
Well, you know, buddy.
That's the wrong shot. He should have just tried to come up just a little above the side pocket. And
again,
now he's got a natural angle to come back for the 9.
Well, I totally agree with that assessment of why he should have went by the side pocket on that particular shot. But I thought that he would hit a little better than that and to stay away from that pocket, because if he gets below the 8 ball, it's a very natural shot to come back up table.
That's very hard to judge, though. Buddy's perception's very acute there. If Nick goes up by the corner, he's going to scratch a certain percentage of the time. If he played it the way Buddy suggested, there's no chance of a scratch.
No, you're exactly right. No chance of a scratch there. But this time he scratched. Maybe next time he won't. But that next time doesn't matter. This time is what counts. Mike Sigel's at the table, trailing 5-2, with an opportunity to win game number 8, and then have an opportunity to get the break. And
I think Mike's got to feel real fortunate.
Oh,
really.
you better believe it.
He maybe used not quite the right judgment on the 1-ball bank, and yet he's still getting an excellent chance to get back in this match.
Now, see, Mike played the same angle Nick wanted to play with the shot, but of course he had the convenience and the luxury of putting the cue ball in hand.
Right. That's exactly right. But see, I'm backwards of Mike. I wouldn't have played it the way he played it. I would have shot the ball in the opposite corner pocket and drawn it to that side rail to the end rail. Above the side pocket, I would have just hit the short rail and went over instead of coming one rail across and back to try to get to the long rail.
If you notice, Mike came within 6 inches of that corner, too.
Well, you know, when you're down there on the table, you know that you're not going to scratch when you put ball in hand and take the natural angle across table. You just can feel that. It's just a strong feel that you have. And I know that Mike knew that he was going to come relatively close to that corner pocket, but he could rest assured he knew he wasn't going to scratch in that corner pocket.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mike's such a great player. He has a real good tell of where the cue ball is going to hit the second rail.
So therefore, with that type of feel on that particular angle, I'm not quite sure if I like your shot opposed to his, because he knows that the speed is a lot easier to judge going 1, 2 rails and down, because there's so much area to work with there.
Well, what we're talking about here, though, is 2 great players having different ways of playing the same shot with roughly the same end result. That is running out roughly 100% of the time.
I guess it's a matter of personal preference. It may be a 0.5% different one
Now,
way
you,
opposed to
on
the
the
other.
other hand, would have agonized and probably found a way to defeat that easy run out.
You're trying to say Billy would have set it straight in and drawn it down?
Yeah, he'd have found maybe drew it 2 cushions with inside English.
Well, I can't wait. In about 4 months, I'm gonna spank you good, Grady. I swear. You remember I asked you what the date was, and you said November 18th, and I said around May, March, or April, or February, well, around the months right there, you'll be looking square at me, buddy.
If you ever draw me in the tournament, that'll be the saddest day of your life, pal.
You don't think Billy can get lucky enough to win?
Oh, he could, yeah.
If his break goes well.
No, in all seriousness,
Mike
I
got
like.
behind the 7, didn't he? Or did he?
I
Did he
think
get
he might
behind
be
the
able to
7?
hit it. I don't know. Anyway, I like to kid Billy, but I wouldn't bet I could beat a housewife at 9-ball. So you may rest assured that I'll be trying my best against you. I'll be tickled silly anytime I even get to see one.
I don't know about this shot, Mike. I don't know about this shot. You look like you've gotten straight in there, Mikey boy. Playing it a little carelessly.
He's got a slight angle. I think he can follow it out of there 2 cushions.
Yeah, he's got a little angle. He's not hesitating long enough. He's pretty sure of this shot.
But he's playing a little carelessly, buddy.
Yes, he is. Now, Mike, this particular shot here, Mike likes to draw this shot instead of follow it. Now, see, 90% of the players today, they follow this shot, but Mike, he draws it. He'll draw it and play the 7 in the side over to his right hand. That's the side that he'll play in. Well, he's going to shoot it at the corner, but I believe he was playing for the side.
And it's kind of hard to really see the exact angle from up here. He had the angle that favored that particular position in the corner.
Well, you know, most of the modern-day professionals are what I think of as draw players anyway. They would rather hit majority of the shots with a little more authority and draw. Earl Strickland, for an example, he's a perfect test case for using the draw shot.
Right. Well, my favorite English is low right.
You told me that years ago, and I argued low left, and it didn't do me any good.
Right-handers use low right better than low left. You know that, buddy. And on this particular equipment, with these balls, as you pointed out earlier, the Centennial ball with the red circle cue ball, the cue ball is slightly lighter than the object ball, so therefore you have a natural tendency to want to draw the ball opposed to following it.
That makes a big difference to the weight of those balls, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. It makes all the difference in the world. When we first started here Tuesday, several people tried to stop their ball and draw it a foot, because they weren't used to the difference in the weights. But after the professionals of this world, though, it took them about 2 days to adjust to that. Now when someone's trying to stop it, they can stop it. If they're drawing it, they can draw it.
You know, if I had a stroke like yours, buddy, with the knowledge that I have of the game, I'd have to allow a full diamond for the difference in the strokes for every kind of shot.
A diamond?
A whole diamond, yeah.
A whole diamond? Why is
if I
that,
had a
Grady?
stroke like Billy's, I'd have to go the other direction, 3 diamonds.
He's going to get a real good spanking from me, buddy. You remember this date.
Okay, I will. I'll remember.
Well, I'll bet the line's not posted in your favor. You won't go that crazy, will you?
You know, Grady, I haven't played serious pool in about 20 years. I haven't gone over about 3 months of solid pool in the last 20 years.
I think it's worth mentioning, Billy. Listen
He
to
told me if you just dream of beating him in a game of 9-ball, wake up and apologize.
I don't
Wake
care
up in a
what happens.
cold sweat.
If he beats me, I'll buy him dinner. But I just want to say something. We usually make it a point to talk about the contestants, not the commentators. But I think it's worthy of mention that
What do you do?
even though I kid
shot?
him, Billy Incardona, 12 or 15 years ago, was considered by a lot of knowledgeable folks to be the best 9-ball player in the country.
Well, thank you, Grady. And meantime, the 2 balls again were pocketed on the break, buddy. Mike didn't pocket the 1 ball. It was a very difficult shot.
In fact, that's 3 games in a row where the two balls have been made on the break. I know it's 3 games in a row. I don't know if it's 4, but I know it's 3.
At least 3, maybe 4 or 5.
And now with the match closened at 4 games to 5, Mike Sigel suddenly waxing loquacious again.
Joe, are you enjoying yourself, Joe?
Yes, I certainly am.
Okay, and make sure that you're enjoying yourself because we really have quite a deep concern from the spectators here.
Nick played across the corner, then just barely missed it, but I believe he left Mike an opportunity to tie the match up.
He sure did. And I got to say something about the fans out here on the Modern Day Tour. They are really supportive, well-behaved, knowledgeable, and a lot of fun to play in front of. Wouldn't you agree with that assessment, fellas?
Only if they're not drunk. I had a little
Well, I
trouble
wish
with
you
a
hadn't
drunk.
said that because in addition to my propensity for 9-ball bitter defeats, drunks have a way of corralling me. I don't know how they do it, you know. And I try to avoid them like the plague. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I was down in Memphis there. I happened to win that tournament, but I was playing one match there. In particular, I was playing Earl Strickland, a drunk over on the side. A guy that was drunk over on the side kept saying, "Shoot him down like a dog, Earl." That's a true story.
Yeah, you remember years ago they'd say, "Go get him, Slim. I'm betting $3 on you."
In the meantime, Mike Sigel opted to play position for this corner pocket. Whether it was intentional or not, that's where he landed, and it's very marginal whether he can make this ball. Well, there's no problem with it now. It's already inside the pocket.
Any good straight pool or one pocket player can pretty well tell whether they can make a ball in a pocket.
Hey, Jimmy Hodges' tournament, a drunk come up, took a swing at Chris McDonald because he didn't get out, and the drunk was betting on him.
Now, Jimmy Hodges, what an amazing story. It's odd you should mention him. There's a guy paid for a $500,000 pool room playing $5 and $10 pool. And he'll tell you that himself.
And I guess he's in stroke by now, huh?
He has to be. Well, I'll tell you, Terry Bell used to go on the road hustling $5 pool, and he told me he had total security when he was hustling $5 pool.
Well, he wasn't
It's when
going
he
to
bet
go broke.
over $5 is when his security was in jeopardy.
And why is that, buddy?
I don't know. I guess everybody who played for $5 he could beat fairly handily.
Well, Mike Sigel opted to hit that ball a little more brisk than he wanted to because now the 9 ball is located on the bottom rail, and he has to do a little bit with the cue ball now.
There, he elected to draw the ball again.
That's a
the
risky
draw
little
shot
shot.
is on this particular equipment here. The draw shot is accurate way more than the follow shot.
Well, it's so much more beneficial to draw the ball opposed to following, considering the weight of the cue ball. You know, you can just control it better. It's much easier to pocket the ball and draw the ball also.
Well, we've got
5-5, and what is it, Billy? Will he make 1 or 2?
Well, you know as well as I do, he's going to make at least 2 balls on the break.
brisk is how I would describe Billy's departure after a tournament loss.
Brisk? What about Earl? All you see with Earl when he loses a match is a shadow. A streak. He don't ever show back up.
Now that we're on that subject, Grady, to the best of your recollection, who do you think takes defeat worse than anyone? I mean, who could not accept defeat in
Well, I
tournament
told
play?
you about that in a previous commentary. 2 of our better-known players were found wandering big city streets in a total daze, unable to utter even their single name.
And who
One
might
other
they be?
famous gentleman was banging his head into a parking meter, and we've got 2 other guys who openly admit to crying bitterly after any tournament defeat.
Who is that?
Oh, I can't tell you.
Come on, the suspense is too great. Who are they?
I'd be open to libel.
Meantime, he pocketed 2 balls on the break, buddy.
Yeah, again.
Oh, look, he's jacking up in the air. I mean, you know he's not going to do this. I mean, you know the man is just pretending he don't really want to do that. Oh, he's going to push out for a jump shot?
And Nick may tell him to take it again. I think if he's in his right mind, he will.
All right, Bill. Who takes defeat the best, and who takes defeat the worst?
Well, I think it's kind of close. Go back from years ago. Okay, Richie Florence hates to lose. I mean, he gets very mean and angry when he loses. Now, on the other hand, Danny DiLiberto is not really what you might consider a gracious loser. Earl Strickland is not a gracious loser.
Bob Williams isn't a great.
Oh, Bob Williams! Oh, I forgot about him.
You guys are nuts.
I guess Grady has the right person in mind that takes defeat worse. I mean, who do you feel does take defeat the hardest?
I don't know, but I think the deportment of the modern-day professionals has gotten a lot better. Now, we still have a couple of guys who can be heard muttering obscenities within the range of our listening audience, and I don't think that's right. I think for all the guys who have to stand there with stomach-churning performances and lopsided scores and have to shake the guy's hand and smile without saying anything, deserve to have those other guys not be allowed to cuss and make, in general, a scene.
I know who it affects the longest. The two people that it stays with the longest.
Who are those?
Earl Strickland and Mike Sigel. Mike will lose a match, and he'll tell you about it 3 weeks down the road and curse the guy.
Well, you know who was the worst. While we're talking about it, now, if you want to talk about it, I'll tell you who the worst loser I ever saw was.
1 second. Mike Sigel, Nick Varner opted to give Mike Sigel the shot that he pushed out for the jump shot. Mike Sigel jumped over the 3-ball. It appeared that he had a chance to bank it straight back underneath him, but it hit the corner down there, and it reflected off the corner onto the bottom rail, hooking Nick Varner behind the 6. I mean, that's something that's really Nick Varner seems to be really unhappy about it. You can't blame him. It was really ill-fated that it happened to him. But in the meantime, he's at the table. The match is tied up 5 games of each. Go ahead, Grady.
I'll tell you guys who the worst loser in the history of the sport is, and as soon as I mention his name, you'll both agree with me. Jersey Red. He called me a spaghetti. He called me a spaghetti player when I defeated him once, and he and Dottie wouldn't talk to me for 6 years.
Well, I got another guy. U.J. Puckett.
Oh, Puckett.
Puckett.
Oh, you mentioned it great then. Oh, Puckett. I'll tell you, Puckett, he's one of the hardest losers in the world when you beat somebody that's with him.
Well, I remember I played Puckett in Johnson City. I was playing real well at the time, and I beat him 11-2. And I was about 25 years old, 24 years old, around that age. And he came up to me after the match, and he was very serious when he came up to me, and he said to me, he says, "Well, son," he says, "you want to try to play me some 11-2 right now?" I mean, he was really serious. I mean, what did he expect me to say? I mean, I really couldn't get mad at the guy. 6'5", weighed about 260. You know, I mean, he was angry.
He is.
At least one of the funniest human beings.
I miss him. I'd like to see him come around every once in a while.
Oh, what a character, boy.
UJ.
I saw him once. He was a Texas state champion, but it was just a little old pee-wee tournament, but he was technically the Texas state champion, so they had an invitational tournament down there in Houston, and he wasn't invited, and there was no entry fee, and last place was $500. So he just calmly strutted in there, and he said, "There'll be no Texas championship without the Texas state champion." And they had to drop the last guy and put him in there.
That's what you call really getting on the muscle.
You know how they used to have ring games, like in bars?
Back at the ranch here, Mike likes 3 balls running out, taking the lead.
I'm glad you pulled Grady up there. I thought he might have went on endlessly without an interruption, but I'm glad you pulled him up there. Back to the business at hand. Mike Sigel's at the table. The match is all tied up, 5 games apiece. And if Mike Sigel runs these remaining 2 balls on the table, gentlemen, it'll be the first time in the match that he'll have the lead.
All I was going to say is that in bars, when they used to have ring games, and a lot of us hustle bar pool years ago, you walk up and you say, "Can I get in?" Now, Puckett never did it. He grabbed a stick and he said, "Who I follow?"
Okay, after game number 11, Mike Sigel does go into the lead at 6-5. Now, this is the first time he's had the lead in the match, and I'm curious to find out how Nick Varner responds to this.
I don't think it's going to bother Nick. He hasn't made, I think, but one serious mistake this match, and he's still in it.
Something happened when he was ahead 5-2.
You'll remember the shot when I tell you. He didn't get Mike securely behind those 2 balls down there when he knocked the 1 out of there.
And then Mike Sigel got him behind a 3. And Nick Varner kicked at the 1. Remember?
That game would have made it 6-2 had Nick played a real good safety and gotten the ball in hand and gotten out.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Once again, 2 balls on the break. Now this time 3 balls on the break.
The score was 5-2. He shot the 5 ball in this corner and went 1 rail down in the corner and scratched.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Because that was a game where Mike finally ended up banking at the 1.
3 balls pocketed on the break, buddy.
I see
3
Jimmy,
balls.
You remember that, though? He was shooting the 5 in this corner and went 1 rail straight down in the corner and scratched.
I see Jimmy Reed over there.
He'd have better control than that?
I remember it. How I remember it well.
I see Jimmy Reed over there. Jimmy's criteria for telling when to get a new girl is this. He takes an orange and a 5-ball and puts them on the dresser, and as soon as the girl can tell the difference, she's gone.
Oh, please save me, Mike. Run out, make a spectacular shot. Do something to get the attention of Mr. Mathews, please. Meantime, Mike Sigel is in deep concentration at the table. And he knows that he has to come cross table in front of the 7, and he knows the side pockets there also. Why doesn't he just draw this ball? You know, why doesn't he just draw this ball, buddy? Why doesn't he just draw this ball, buddy?
Boy, how quick does it work?
I don't know. Look at Jimmy always looked up here and grinned at us.
Grady can see that.
She's mad.
Well, they can't hear us, isn't he? Well, let's get back to the game. All right, Mike Sigel's running out. He leads in the match 6-5. And the table is breaking probably better than any table that I've ever seen break before. It's so hard to blunder here and get off the break. I mean, it's very crucial that when you have an opportunity to get out, that you get out.
Yeah, one little mistake, and this match is kind of turned around.
It's really turned around now. It's 7-5. Mike leading. I believe Nicky's a little shaky from that beat that he took in New York, and he's wanting to pay that back to the point of where it might have him a little overamped for this match.
That's a very good possibility that it could be happening right now, buddy. You know, Nicky is recognized right now as the #1 player in the world, deservingly so.
And Mike doesn't like that very much. Let's call a spade a spade.
Well, that's another issue now, Grady, okay? Now, Nick Varner is recognized as the #1 player in the world, okay? And the only person that has defeated him in recent history in the finals was Mike Sigel. So Nick really wants this little bit of revenge right now, and he's not getting it, and he might be a little overamped because of it.
Right. I'm not saying he's not afraid or anything like that. That's not what we're suggesting at all. I'm just saying that he maybe want to win a little too bad.
And he's not really playing within himself. He's allowing this to bother him slightly, and that's all it's going to take for Mike Sigel to beat him is for Nick to be bothered just very slightly, because Nick has to have 100% concentration to defeat Mike Sigel.
You can get into all kinds of gambling probability and winning theory. There are two schools of thought. One is, and they're not the same thing, the different one most people don't think about is to play not to win, but rather not to lose, and they are not one and the same thing.
Well, that's exactly right. I'd rather bet on a player that plays to win than bet on a player that plays not to lose. Therefore, he's satisfied with a push.
Yeah, Mike broke him bad that time. He didn't make but one.
Now, he's got a one-pocket safety here if he wants it to park Nick behind the 7 and 8. I don't know.
He does, but I don't know. The one ball lays pretty close to the end rail, and you know that the possibility of the double kiss is not really it's very likely with this particular angle he has. And I don't know if that's a real good shot.
He'll shoot at this and probably go into the 3 or the 5.
I like your shot. I like going for the hole here. Getting him behind the 7 and 8 is really not. It's not guaranteed in this on this particular angle.
No, it's not. It would be a fairly tough shot.
He's going into the 3 or the 5 right here, I believe. Oh.
Well, that's extremely unfortunate that happened. But don't forget, he was very fortunate that he hooked Nick a few racks ago. Now Nick has the upper hand. He's at the table with ball in hand. Naturally, he's trailing by 2 games, but I think this match right now is extremely even.
You know that
I think this match is exactly even right here. I don't see any problems with Nick getting out. He'll be breaking with a prospect of making at least 2 balls on the break. If he has a shot at the 1 next game, the match is even. In fact, he'll be the favorite.
The 4-shot example where Mike just scratched aptly illustrates the maximum of not running into balls. Things like that do happen.
That's exactly right, but he was forced, like Buddy said, to run into those balls. And unfortunately, he did scratch, and that's another lesson for Mike Sigel, and I'm sure he understands it even better now than he did before, is that I don't want to run into balls, and I'm not going to unless I absolutely have to. And that's just the way he plays, that's the way Buddy plays, and unfortunately, sometimes you have to, and usually when you have to, something like that happens, it really teaches you something, And,
Earl has been practicing lately, he told me. he tries to never hit a single ball in his practice, and I'm not sure that's not a great way to
That's the
to
way I
practice.
played all my life.
I didn't know that.
That's the way I played all my life. Even when I play a match, I try to never run into a ball unless I have to run into it.
And certainly Blackie doesn't like you to run in the balls.
No, Blackie doesn't like it at all when I run into balls.
You know, I try not to run in the balls either, by the way, fellas. But there are some times when it's really advantageous to run into the balls. And when you practice and when you're so conscious of not running into balls, sometimes you overlook the strength of running into certain balls at certain times.
I agree. There are advantages and disadvantages to it. I agree 100% with what you just said. Sometimes you need to run into a ball. Like a good example a while ago was when Mike was playing Kim Davenport. He went 2 rails and went into the 6, gave him a perfect angle on the 4 to get to the 5.
And I'm going to tell you who can really teach you a lot about running into balls. Not that he's a master at it, or not that you should tailor your game after his, but if you sit down and watch this fella play and try to appreciate how he runs into balls, maybe you can learn something from him. And that's Keith McCready. Keith McCready runs into more balls than any top player I've ever watched play. And after you get done watching him play one of his good performances, you kind of wonder if not running into balls is really the wrong way to play or the right way to play.
Well, I'll tell you, speaking of Keith, now I saw Keith play about 6-7 years ago. He was unbeatable. I'm telling you, the man played as good a 9-ball as I've ever seen anybody play. He played as well as these 2 guys right here.
Sure did.
He played so, it's just unbelievable, the speed that boy played.
But he's gone through backers like so much shredded confetti, too.
Yeah. One day he broke 12 people and they were all backers.
I mean, let's face it, he's from Orange County, and they called him the Orange County Fire Chief because he burned up so many backers.
In the meantime, Nick Varner seems to be well on his way to capture game number 13 and close a little further into this lead of 7-5 to 7-6. Buddy Hall says this is not really a gimme when you're behind 7-5. I'm going to have to wait and find out if he's telling the truth here. Ooh, yes. Anyways, at the end of game number 13, this match is getting a little bit closer now at 7-6.
That type of shot, buddy, can skid on you a lot of times, too. It can happen at any time, especially when you're on that rail. And when that happens, you're powerless. There's not really anything you can do.
Yeah, and it's less likely to skid if you hit a little harder like Nick hit it, you know. And I'm sure he was aware of that. I haven't seen many balls skid on this cloth. Have you noticed that?
I haven't seen any ball skid that you mentioned it on this cloth. Not one, and that's very unusual. I haven't seen not one ball slide.
And it's going to be a good match, 7-6.
We predicted it'd be a great match to start with.
No balls on the break. No balls on the break. First time in a day and a half that the breaker has not pocketed a ball on the break.
This is a tough layout, though. The 2 is in trouble.
Yeah, but Mike Sigel right now feels awfully good that he's at the table because the breaker has such a decisive advantage. And when you break the balls and don't make a ball on this table, that means that the pool gods are definitely not on your side.
You know, if he can drop below the 6, if he can go below the 6 on this particular shot here, he's in real good shape. If he can bank the one rail across and go between the 6 and the 8 with the cue ball, he's really in a good spot.
He has so many balls to get behind there if he can do that, and that's exactly what he tried to do, not doing it, but still leaving Nick Varner a very, very difficult shot.
I liked knocking the 1 behind the 3-5-7 and the cue ball over to the far right-hand corner.
Well, why didn't you share that opinion with us so we could take a look at it?
Because I was thinking about this pool player who stiffed a motel years ago when
What are you doing to us up here? Give us
with
a break.
the laws were so stringent that he received a dunning letter from the hotel, and they said, "Dear sir, apparently you're not familiar with our payment policy," which is, and they went on to reiterate and so on and so on.
Well, I'm
and
glad we've got Grady up here. He can sure add some humor
He sent
to
them
it.
a letter back, and he said, "Dear sirs, apparently you're not familiar with my payment policy, which is you get nothing now or ever."
Grady, come on, you're going to have to give us a break here, all right? Come on, yeah, you know you're great, but let's give these guys a break, all right? Grady, let's do a little bit of commentary on the match, all right? Okay, Mike Sigel is leading in the match 7 games to 6. We're racing to 11 to find out who leaves left alone on the winner's side. There's only 2 undefeated players left in the tournament, and
That's got to be the shot.
those are the players out there now, Mike Sigel and Nick Varner. What's the shot?
Well, Buddy, as usual, selected the high percentage play. That's got to be the right shot.
He's gotten away with this. I mean, that was totally the wrong
I think
shot.
Nick can.
I don't know if he can hit the one or not. Even if he can hit the one, it's he still really can't do much with it, you know. But I definitely feel that was the wrong shot. I really like your shot a lot more than that one.
I tell you, when there's a break in the action, you let me know, and I'll tell you a good St. Louis story. We'll wait on that.
The payment plan coming up.
Pat, if this was baseball, okay, Pat, if this was baseball, we could get a pinch hitter, you know, and we would be rid of this man to my left, all right, with a pinch hitter. But unfortunately, this isn't baseball, and we're stuck with him.
Well, if Nick's
and that's when we can get the hook out. That's
if
another.
Nick's going to take a few seconds, I got to tell you this. Louis had all his credit card bills run up and everything. He was receiving a lot of threatening letters, dunning letters. And he wrote everybody a letter. He said, "Dear sirs, every month I conduct a lucky drawing. I take all my creditors' names, place them in the hat, and I draw out one, and the lucky winner receives 50 cents. If I receive one more dunning letter from you, I'll be forced to remove your name from the hat."
Oh, and Nick Varner elected to go for the difficult shot, missing it, and leaving Mike Sigel a quite difficult shot on the one. And not only is the shot difficult on the one, but position is also something that is quite difficult.
This is going to be a safety battle here. These balls are laying in a terrible manner.
I agree totally. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he just banked the one right about the other end of the table here. Not that he would do that, but what can he do if he pockets the one?
Oh, you know what I'd like
I would
to see
try
him
to
do?
pocket the one and play safe on the 2.
He can play the 1, the 2,
He's not going
and
to do
bank
what
the
I
3.
He's not going to do what I
I think he's going to play the 1 and play safe off the 2.
What about thinning the 1 and ramming into that 9 ball as hard as you can hit a pool ball?
That was worse than the shot I had about running into the 8. Remember when I said I'd run into the 8? Well, that obviously is a worse shot. I'd make the 1 and play safe off the deuce. That's what I would do.
He's ducking. He's banking the 1 cross. What's he doing?
Well, I don't know what he tried to do. I think he's gotten himself in trouble now. I don't believe he can see the 2.
On the 9.
The 9 wouldn't go by.
So what? That's the 9 ball mentality. The balls don't know that.
Grady, come on. You got to give these guys a break here.
We're supposed to have a little fun.
No, here we go. Here we go. Now that was a pool shot. I don't know whether or not he played that shot or not, buddy, but it certainly ended up there.
Break over there. Alan Hopkins just made the 9 on the break on table 7. He's taking a 9-4 lead over Steve Mizrak trying to advance. The loser of that match goes home.
Pat, can we get some coffee up here?
Robin Bell beat Bonnie Hoffman, evidently.
And this is about a 28% hit possibility, in my estimation.
Not with this man. This man will hit it. You can believe that. This man will hit it.
Yeah, Nicky took time out. Everin Reyes was over here from the Philippine Islands, and he played a lot of billiards. And Nicky's seen the strength of kicking at balls with these rules that we now have. So he went to work on his billiard game and the diamond systems. And he told me that the systems, maybe you couldn't hit the proper side of the ball, but they would put you in the park.
And the system will never let you down if you measure correctly.
Yeah.
And Efren, he's an interesting story. He never heard of Coolemans. He said, "Who's Coolemans?" He doesn't think anybody can beat him playing billiards, and he may be right.
But after he watched Coolemans play, he liked the way Coolemans played.
Decided that'd be a bad game.
He decided that Coolemans could play. Yeah.
Now, what do you do with this shot, buddy? I mean, he really is in a quandary here. I mean, I don't see much what he can do. I mean,
You just thin the deuce, go over to the side rail behind the 6-9.
he's looking to play the 9. He's looking to play the 9. What do you think he's doing down there?
I would be instantly gratified if he
If he shot the 2 ball into the 9, is that what you want him to do? Just shot the 2 ball as the cue ball?
Sure, warp speed.
That's what he's shooting. He's playing the 9. He's playing the cue ball back to the end rail, playing the 9. Now he gets to do it one more time.
He didn't shoot.
Do you think he's gotten what he deserved?
No, I think he played a good shot, really. He was unfortunate that he made a ball on that shot. I believe that he deserved better than he made a good shot. He didn't make the 9, but he made a good shot.
Do you hit this ball hard, try to luck in the 9?
You hit it hard, you hit it full, and try to get it to hit the 9. You sure do.
Might as well. Just make sure you don't hit those other balls.
Now that he's lucked in the 8 and gotten himself behind the 9, how do you kick it this? Do you kick this easy?
I would say you kick 2 rails across this. You kick 2 rails and try to hit this side of it. Just try to put a lot of distance between the balls. On this particular shot here, you don't try to kick this ball in. You just try to hit it at a speed to where you put distance between the 2 and the cue ball. Go 2 rails and hit the top side of it. Hit this side of it.
Okay, but I really wouldn't hit this hard because I wouldn't take a chance of scratching.
Like that, only he hit it a little.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
He hit it a little too full. He was trying to shoot the shot that I suggested. He just hit it a little too full.
Okay, now here, let's take a look at this situation here. Now he can pocket the 2 ball. There's no problem with doing that. Now he's down here. I want to play position to bank to 3 cross side. I don't know if that's right or not because the 5 and 7 are still tied up. Unless you brush to 5 and play position on the 4. That's asking a little bit too much. I like doing this. I like playing the 2 ball in the left-hand corner and see where his left hand is, coming down the table or next to the side pocket, and playing position to brush to 3 against the rail by the 7 and leaving the cue ball down here and hooking him.
Well, he can do that, and possibly if he hooks him behind the 4, he is dead. If he shoots the 2 in and lags the cue ball over to this side of the table, then nip the 2, and if he gets lucky enough to catch the bottom edge of the 4 and stick behind that, then he's really got him.
I see you guys
I
are wrong
I
again.
like playing the ball and then playing the safety off the 3.
I like playing the deuce, getting straight on the 3, and then just shooting a 3-5-7 like a break shot.
Okay, I like this angle. I like this angle.
And if he gets behind the 4, he'll win this game.
Like a break shot, Grady?
If
Well,
he
why
gets
not?
behind
It's
the
in
4,
keeping.
he'll win this game.
I don't think he'll mess with the 4. I think he'll stay this side of the 4.
Okay, now he's gotten a rail.
See, this may be no good. The 7 may go. I don't know. The 7 may go. If the 7 doesn't go, he's not going to hit it hard enough to move it. He's just going to bump it. But if the 7 does go, he's going to hit it firm. He's going to try to luck it in.
Well, I agree with you, buddy, but I still like Nick's chances from here.
Well, I like his chances too, but I would like his chances a lot more had he had gotten behind the 4.
I agree.
Well, Buddy likes his man stuck up. He wants him frozen to something.
Well, it's about time you start picking on someone else other than me.
I'm
you
not
know.
picking on it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, if you're going to play safe playing 9 ball, the only difference between playing safe playing 9 ball, you have to get safe. Safe means no options. That's the only time you're
And
truly
even
safe.
then, you're not safe.
The only time you're truly safe playing 9 ball is when there are no options.
You know, all these years of playing, Buddy, I never saw an impossible shot.
You haven't?
No, I mean, I've seen impossible shots for one particular pocket or another, but where you absolutely couldn't hit one, I've never seen it.
Buddy, if you look on the monitor, it appears that the 7 won't even go from the view I have on the monitor.
I would say that he'll lag real soft and maybe try to hit the edge. Maybe even lag 2 rails at this.
No, he's going after this.
He's hitting it hard. Suicide.
You know, hitting the ball that hard, you know he's losing accuracy.
Well,
And
and his
sanity.
mind too.
So therefore, that was very, very poor judgment by hitting that shot that hard.
Not at all. He had no shot at all there except try to luck one in by
Now
hitting
you
it
see
that
what
hard.
you see what happened to him there. He could have had the break shot I alluded to earlier, and everything would have been.
I know
dandy.
what he was thinking about. He was thinking if he kicked softly up there and hit the 3, now he's going to leave the 3 up there on top of those 2 balls with a cue ball on top of that and leave Nick a chance to bury him behind him again. So he'd rather take his chances on lucking a ball in, which, if you stop and think about it like that, he probably shot the right shot.
Oh, there was nothing wrong with the way he shot it.
But he showed complete disregard for for what might happen as far as as hitting it so hard that he would lose the accuracy and he wouldn't hit the intended ball.
Right, but he shot the shot. The way he shot the shot shows a lot of respect for Nick. He was showing a lot of respect for Nick. He didn't want to leave Nick and that ball above those two balls. He didn't want to leave the 3 and the cue ball above those two balls with Nick coming up.
Well, I can understand that, but there's a lot of speeds that you could have hit that shot with, and I think he hit it with his top speed, and I don't think that was right. I think that he should have assured the hit on the ball opposed to hitting it as hard as he could.
Yeah, he could have hit it medium hard.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Medium hard, and secured his accuracy.
Now he's giving up the brick, and the match is tied up at 7 apiece. There goes the corner ball.
Well, you know, there are times in this great sport where you kind of black out and you don't think correctly.
Well, you're exactly right. I don't think Nick can make the 1 ball here, buddy. He's pocketing a ball on the break. I don't think he can make the 1 ball here.
No, you're going to see Sigel going, being stuck up behind the 3 ball, I believe.
I believe he's going to back at this ball, Grady, across the corner.
Okay, dinner. Dinner, sir.
Oh, he can make the ball.
Straight in.
Oh, by the expression on his face, I thought that he couldn't make that ball.
I didn't think he could make it by the expression on his face or by the monitor either.
Well, Nick, again, the kind of guy you couldn't tell if he was winning or losing if you had only his expression to go by.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks to me like he has a chance to go ahead by 1 game here. I see Nick with an excellent opportunity to win this set now.
Oh, no question about it. It's tied up. He's at the table.
Look what he did here, buddy. He got a little rough on this shot.
Well, not really. Not really. He could have had a little more of an ideal angle, but he's still in real good shape. He won't miss this ball 1 out of 40 times.
Yeah, he's going to make sure he cuts this ball enough. Even if he hits that long rail going down, the pocket will accept it. He's going to just pinch this ball. He's going to come against that side rail over there. He's got no problem here.
Okay, that was a little easier than I thought.
Yeah, now he's just here's the shot. Cinch the 4. He's got to roll this one. He's got to cinch the 4 and stay above the 6.
Yeah, he's got to make sure he gets a nice angle here. I mean, he's got to get a pretty severe angle on this ball. I mean, he can't afford to roll down too close to the 6. I mean, even that's even too far, I think. I think he can get a little better angle than that. He's going to be close to that rail.
I don't think he should. I think he should go down about the middle diamond and not down between the middle and the last diamond because he has to hit it with a high ball if he's on the rail, and the 9 is too big for that.
I agree. I totally agree.
He may go 1 rail between the 8-9.
Mr. Fleming, our renowned statistician, informs me that we have spent $78 thus far on coffee at this tournament.
He hit it well. See, he's another one that can jack up and hit shots pretty good.
Yeah, coffee and snacks. Sugar. Yeah, we'll take coffee and snacks, Pat. Thanks a lot.
Just sugar. Just sugar in the coffee.
I wish Pat would have informed me I'd be up here working with 2 lunatics.
Grady, that's almost like calling the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Certainly I've gone through my black periods. You wouldn't believe the self-hypnosis things I do in the car driving down the road.
Poor old Louis Roberts, he had him some tapes made up that told him when he went to sleep at night he'd plugged them into his ears. And they played all night long, and they said, "You, Louis Roberts, you are the greatest player in the world." Now the pool players got wind of this, and they tried to steal his tapes because he was the greatest pool player in the world while he listened to them.
Well, Louis, again, one of our most colorful performers over the years. Louis, I felt, could have been, well, I don't want to, he could have been a lot better than a fatty, for an example. Louis, very crowd-pleasing person. He's popular, well-liked, probably the best bite man that ever lived. The bite, for the uninformed, meaning borrowing money. I mean,
well, let me ask you something, not to get too offensive here, but in your opinion, name the 3 best bite men that ever lived.
Well, Billy Johnson and I have put the other fellows in our shadows because we start to bite off at like 5,000. I mean, we left that $200 and $300 stuff in our wake some years ago.
You gotta give Danny Jones real top honors there.
Oh, he's great.
I mean, if you want to talk about
Louis
the small
Roberts
bites, you got
beyond a doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Louis
you got-
Roberts is the greatest that ever lived.
not necessarily. You got honorable mention at least. Peter Rabbit, Keith McCready,
Peter
Danny
Rabbit,
Jones.
those guys can't warm Louis up. They can't carry Louis' pouch.
You remember when he borrowed 50 from the security
Yeah.
guard just for
Louis
practice?
Roberts is one of the few people that can sell the same cue 40 times in one building.
We talked about that earlier. He holds the world's record. He sold the same cue 8 times in one night
Under the same roof.
under the same roof.
And all for higher prices.
Well, I'll tell you my opinion on this. I've been around for some time. You know, I'm about in the middle of you two guys. I'm slightly younger than Grady, slightly older than Buddy. So therefore, I do qualify. I believe you're correct, Buddy, with your assessment of Louis Roberts. I believe that he's well beyond anyone as far as the bite.
Meanwhile, Nick is threatening to go ahead 9 games to 7 here. It looks like he will, in fact, do just that.
There's no telling how many. Look, one time, T.R. McIntosh, this guy down Florida, he come to a tournament in Chattanooga, and Louis was there, and the first thing he done, he paged Louis over the intercom. When Louis came to him, he handed Louis $30. He said, "Here, Louis." He said, "This because I know if I don't call you up and give you 30, you're going to bite me for 50." Right? Well, Louis came back about 30 minutes later and told T.R., he said, "T, I can't help it. I just feel like you owe me 20.
Well, you know, it has become almost a status symbol how much Louis owes you. Like one guy said, "Well, he owes me 200. Ah, that ain't nothing. He owes me 850." And they go on, and it's a geographical, political status symbol. He's gotten a little
The
bit
scoop
out of
here
line.
is Nick Varner 8 and Mike Sigel 7. Nick Varner's at the table shooting the 5.
He's got to get on the 6. He's going for the side. Play position for the side. Try these.
You know, Louis was on a program some years ago, and the guy locked him up in a room with no windows and no walls, no money, 15 miles from town, and when he came back, Louis was drunk. You talk about the proverbial locked door mystery. How did he do it? I don't know.
At the end of game number 16, for all you viewers who don't understand and refuse to understand that we're doing the commentary on this match, the score is Nick Varner 9 and Mike Sigel 7. There's only one game in the match that the ball hasn't been pocketed on the break, and Mike Sigel has given up that break to Nick Varner several games ago. He was leading in the match at 7 games to 6, and it was an unfortunate error. What happened that got Nick Varner to the table with an opportunity? What did Mike do?
Well, he
there?
got a ball in hand when Mike frammed at that kick shot.
Oh, that's exactly right. And that just goes to show you how important it is to remain at the table. Look, he hasn't pocketed a ball again. Now this is really spooky. I mean, he really crushed those balls. They exploded. The one ball hung up in the corner pocket. Mike Sigel has an opportunity at the table. He trails in this match 9 games to 7. And this is only the second time now, and I think in the last 3 or 4 matches on this table, that there hasn't been a ball pocketed on the break.
I agree with you. Kind of stir over.
You need a swizzle stick?
Yeah, swizzle stick, yeah.
Brick and he hit right there.
You think he got the slug, Sammy? Billy doesn't like us to talk about that, and he wants us to call rolls opportunities. And he's given me strict orders not to mention pantaloons.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think Nick Varner's going to find himself underneath the 6 ball here.
Yeah. You know what? He has a shot here. If he can shoot 2 straight in the side, he might elect to do that.
That's a little
Well, that's
risky.
possible, but I think he's going to put him behind the 6.
Billy ever squeezing.
Matter of fact, I think he's going to put him right up against it. Now he's going to say, "Okay, take your best shot from here." I know
All
you're.
right, you smart.
I know
What's
you're a
the
good
odds?
billiard player, but let me see how well you do play.
What are the odds of him contacting this 2-ball?
I think it's exactly about 1 in every 2.75 chances.
And once again, he's answered with utter nonsense.
He has to, with utter nonsense. He has a chance to hit this with a high ball.
Now here's where a Mike Mathews
high
shooting on
ball.
the other side of the cue ball shot
Yeah.
might work.
A high ball here is hard because the ball's going to come long. It's going to come wide. A high ball here is going to float wide.
It is, and you know, you're very astute to realize that. I've seen a lot of relatively good players unaware of that fact. When that cue ball is close to the rail, a high ball will swing it long or
Watch
wide.
This ball, it'll actually bend to the
Well,
right.
he's allowing for it.
To the right. See
Yeah, it sure did.
See it bend to the right?
You're right. One more time, buddy. One more time.
Thank you.
What game was that over here? It's 10 to 9.
Yes, the Miz is coming back on Hopkins. He was down 9 games to 5, and he has won 3 consecutive games and narrowed the gap to 8 games to 9.
Well, the only thing,
Oh, man, you always just sit there dogging it.
4 to the 5 here, folks, is the problem. The 4 to the 5 is the key. The 5 ball, I believe, is the key. Looky here. Looky here. He almost knocked the 3 out of range. He almost knocked the 3 out of range. Now he has to hit the 3 pretty thin. The 4 to the 5, I think, is still the problem. 4 to the 5. If he gets on the 5, I don't see any problems.
Louis Roberts was over at Bob Mucci's house, who's real religious. One night he was asked to say the grace as
No, 1 second, please. How do you play this? Do you come beneath the 5 here, buddy?
Yeah, you play below it.
he was asked to say the grace as a guest of honor. Here was Louis's grace. Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub, yay God.
Grady, you're brutal.
Well, you got to have a little fun to maintain
Well,
sanity.
My pastor told me about a pastor that used to say, "Bless the beef, Lord, let's eat."
Well,
I mean, he
there's
actually said stuff like that, and he was a pastor in a church.
There's nothing wrong with a little levity in the saying of the grace.
Who's to say who's correct how you ask something?
That's right. And my prayers and the presentation of them and the way the language format is
Well, I'm
somewhat
gonna tell you,
different than
it's what's in
everybody
your
else's.
heart that counts. It's really not the words. It's what you mean, how you mean them.
Amen.
Please, God, give me a roll.
An opportunity.
Oh, excuse me, opportunity.
Well, let me ask you something, Sammy. Doesn't that sound a lot better? Give me an opportunity. You keep begging for rolls. You think you're going to do? You're going to get any rolls? Just give me an opportunity.
Well, 9-8.
It's much more noble to beg for an opportunity than it is for a roll. Don't you think so? Here.
Louis Roberts stories. I personally know the greatest one of all time was Louis Roberts.
I don't know what to say, though, Sammy. He's been mad at me all night for telling these stories. The orange and the 5-ball story like they got me in bad trouble.
Oh, Grady.
He was at Red Steak. He was off about 20,000. Vikings, drinking his wine, and everything else around the pool. He gets a game while Red's gone. The guy's staking. He beats his ass about 4,000. Red came back. He said, "Well, this is really all right. He just paid me some money back even though he wasn't in." So Red walks through the doors and Louis went over and gave him $40. He said, "I had to tip the waitress. He said, that's wait till let me still drink free."
Okay, the score is now Mike Sigel 8, Nick Varner 9. Mike Sigel breaking the balls. Buddy, Grady, this match, in my opinion, is dead even.
It sure is. It could go either way.
There goes the corner ball. If he can get position on the 1, and then it looks like he is going to get position on the 1 here. 1, 3, right next to one another. And it seems like the Angel is making her appearance
Chosen
again.
one, man. Chosen one.
Yeah, he's,
He is kind of chosen.
And this is really pretty much of a Cosmo.
Let's take a look at it. 1 in the corner, 2 in the corner, 4 in the side, 5 in the corner, 6 in the corner, 7 in the possibly the same corner, maybe even the side, depending on where he gets on the 6. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much of a problem here, Grady.
No, I don't see any inherent.
But he did get on the wrong side of the 2 here, you know. He did get on the wrong side of the 2 here. He's got to come around now, buddy. I mean, if he would have got a lot straighter, all he would have had to do was follow the ball, keeping the nice convenient angle on the 4 to get to the 5. He's got to come around. But he did it with excellent speed, no problem.
And speed control, as we all know, one of the secrets to championship pocket billiard play.
That's exactly right. You know, sometimes you can play the balls the correct way, but if you don't have the desired speed or the necessary speed, it's for nothing, you know.
And we're seeing just the kind of close match we thought we'd see.
That's exactly right. We knew this would be a close match. Both of these players are really playing on the top of their game. 6 in the corner, just coming off the rail, playing the 7 in the same corner. Oh, he really hit that ball poorly. That particular angle, the pocket will accept that shot. And that's certainly an indication of that as well, as bad as he hit that ball.
That looked like a Billy Cardone type hit.
Yeah, thank you. And it looks like at the end of game number 18, we have a match that is all knotted up, 9 games apiece.
Mike was signaling how wide the pocket was. He stretched both arms out.
Well, you know, all joking aside, I've seen Mike cheat the pocket his entire playing career with more success, I think, than I've ever seen anybody do. And there's got to be something to that. He's hitting the balls the right speed, obviously.
Well, you know as well as I do, providing that you hit the ball the proper speed, you can cheat the pocket. And maybe he just has a knack for knowing what the right speed is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Sure.
Oh, sure. Sure, you know, knowing how to hit the ball and what speed to hit it is really, really beneficial. It's such an advantage. Some people just have that in them, you know. They just know what speed to hit balls with.
So, yeah.
Can he see the 2 ball? Can he make the 2 ball? The 5 ball seems to be the problem here, but can he see the 2 ball?
He can see it, but I don't believe he has enough room to make it.
Hard to tell from here.
See, look.
Let's take a look at his face. He's bending over. It's very close. It's very close.
He can do something with it. He can hop it slightly, twirl it.
I don't know about hopping and twirling and whatever you.
No, he's not having to do anything.
Well, he's really not really overjoyed with it, I can tell you that. So he's going for it. He's taking a look at the 3 now.
I think there's room to drive a semi through there. He'd be taking more time than this.
Well, that was an excellent shot. Excellent shot. Now, this here is the shot of the rack right here. He must get good on the 5 here, and there's a possible chance he can get hooked by the 7 here, buddy.
He's going to follow this ball. He won't.
Oh, he's too straight in to follow. I think.
Well,
this is a little touchy if he
it's
hits it on the wrong
touchy.
side of the pocket.
Yeah, this is very touchy.
He's got to get way out there. That's no good.
He might not be able to make this ball.
I figured there was a possibility he could get hooked by the 7 here, and if he is hooked by the 7, he's got some problems. I think he can make it. This pocket is very, very lenient, you know. I mean, it'll accept the ball as poorly as he hit the 6 ball the last rack.
Let's be accurate and design it cavernous.
It accepts the ball for the break real good.
This isn't what you might refer to as a stingy pocket, you know. I mean, with the way he hit the 6 ball last rack, I think that he can hit this 5 just about anywhere on that rail and it'll go in.
He must be able to make this 5, or he would have studied that 3.
He can't make that ball. He's going to go 2 rails around.
And he's looking to put England. No, he can't make it. He can't make it. He cannot make the ball. He cannot make the ball. Now, when he goes 2 rails around, he cannot hit this shot with English. He has to hit it with the center ball to go 2 rails around.
Well, he's got to be careful. If he gets
he's got to
short
miss
enough,
the 6. He's got to miss the 6.
right. If he gets short enough to miss a 9, it could go too long out of their 2 cushions.
Now, watch out now. He wants to get beyond there. I think he struck it very, very well. I don't think he can ask for anything more than he's gotten out of that shot.
And I think we're going to see Nick Varner Greek this 5 ball.
I think he's going to try to
Okay, I think that Mike Sigel will win this game. I know this shot is a very good shot if executed correctly, but I still like Mike Sigel's chances in this rack.
Well, no kidding. Nick Varner's 9 feet from the ball with no readily apparent shot.
I think
he always thinks I'm hustling all the time.
I mean, you're handy with your ready
if he can
observation
hit and
there.
stick this ball here, he's got a very good chance to win this game. If he can stick his cue ball here.
Well, there's a very good possibility that he will stick his cue ball there. That's why I said I like.
Look at him.
I
He's
like
using
Mike's
the mirror
chances
system.
because it's a gamble here. I mean, you don't have to like Mike here. You can like, okay, I like Nick Lee. You want to lay 6 to 5?
He's using the mirror system to tell where to Greek this ball. He could. That's an old-time snooker shot. You play it one on the side or down to the end rail. You've got a 2-way shot.
He could make this ball in the side pocket like Sammy suggested. The ball could go into the side pocket.
Exactly right. It can go in there very easily.
It could also hit the point and come right back in front of Mike also for a shot.
So miss it going down and hook him behind the 9.
And he can also hit the 5 ball not deep enough and lose the cue ball and sell out.
Right. If he sticks his cue ball here, I like his chances. If he can stick his ball here, I like his chances.
Now, there's another shot that I've become
like
recently acquainted with that I like, and that's where you play a billiard rail first off the 5 and over behind the 7. It's pretty much of a natural. It takes a little confidence, a little practice.
And a whole lot of
Courage.
Courage, yeah.
Opportunity.
Opportunity takes a lot of opportunity.
You think that takes more courage than some of those harrigans I've witnessed on these very tables?
Okay, now the way I'd play this shot, buddy, I would elect to go the Greek way underneath the 5 ball, but I would make sure that I would stroke this ball. I would hit it fairly hard with a high ball, so I would just stick right there.
I would say, yeah, just stick right there, 1 rail. Just stick behind it. He's got to spin the ball. He's got to spin the cue ball.
Yeah, spin this cue ball slightly, but make sure you stroke it and put a lot of follow through on the cue ball to make sure you stick there.
Well, you guys have got him sticking it, spinning it, high ball, twirling it. I don't know what else.
How about that?
And there he goes, and there it goes. He's made it in the side, exactly what Sammy Jones said might happen. He made it in the side. Now, is it good or bad? Is it good or bad that he
There
did
we
it?
have one of the
Bad.
great calls
That's
in the
bad.
history of the sport.
That's bad that ball goes in. Well, it's not bad if he can make the 6, but if it don't go in, well, I'm sure he'd rather it go in. So he'd rather be shooting right now.
I disagree.
I'll tell you, if it don't go in that side, Mike is dead.
That's right. I think that Mike's glad it went in.
Not necessarily. I've seen many a game lost hitting that far point. That could have happened.
Toughest shots in pool right
Well,
here.
I wouldn't even shoot it. You
When the
couldn't put a
score's 9.
shotgun on me and make me shoot this.
Oh,
I'd thin it
Grady,
to the right-hand
you'd
rail.
shoot that ball in. You know you would.
No, I wouldn't either.
Oh, and one of the reasons why Grady wouldn't shoot, because now if Nick pockets this ball, he's going to have another tough shot on the 7.
Well,
I think you're going to see him have second thoughts and thin the ball to the right-hand side rail and back down.
Okay, now the score is 9 games apiece. They're going to 11. The player who is the recipient of the first opportunity here is going to win this match most likely, and Nick knows that. So therefore, it's not out of the question that he thins the 6 ball, drives it to the bottom rail, and the cue ball coming 2 rails down the table. That's certainly not out of the question. If he elects to shoot the 6 ball in the right-hand corner, elevates his cue. If he pockets the 6 ball, he still doesn't have to have an easy shot in the 7. He's still going to have a tough shot in the 7.
let me tell y'all something. Nick is an old timer. I mean, he's been around a long time. He knows he's got more the best of it shooting just like that than he has ducking. Anytime you have a tough shot or a tough safety, you are 20% better off taking the shot.
But that really wasn't a tough safety. That was an easy safety.
Well, this type of equipment, it isn't. He has to hit the ball thin. He has to make sure he banks it 1 rail across to the middle of the table.
Well, Nick's playing with the confidence
The
necessary.
6 is not going to have enough
pocket that
speed
type
to
of
it to
shot.
get across the table if he gets a cue ball back down here. He shot the shot the right way. He shot the shot the right way.
Meantime, on table 7, not to get away from this situation here, But Alan Hopkins leads in that match 10 games to 9 over Steve Mizrak, and Mizrak at the table with a difficult shot, but a possible billiard on the 9. No.
I think we may see a 10-10 tie here. I'd like to see it. I want to see somebody dog it.
You want to see 10-10 ties on all the tables.
I never want to see anybody run out when it's 10 apiece. I want to see them dog it 2 or 3 times.
You must have loved that match the other night between Mizrak and Davenport.
Well, that was a great match, but I was joking about the dog.
They both played good.
That was one of the greatest matches I've ever witnessed, and they both displayed quite a bit of courage.
He went right between them. Look at that.
Yep. He signed his report card.
Can you believe he did that?
I thought he played. Oh my goodness! Did you see what he almost did there?
Sigel almost jumped up real good.
See, he hit down on that ball. It left the table. It was in the air when it hit the edge of the cushion. When it did, it just come off at a phony, just a glancing angle. It almost reached the side on the fly.
Well, what do you do here, buddy? You warp it across the side, slice it in the corner, cut it in the side.
Well, I think he's going to go directly into the side with this shot. I think he's going to go in and go for the side, and he's an excellent shot maker. I don't like him banking this ball. I like him going for the side. He's choosing to bank it by the way he's elevating. I like him going for the side, but of course he's down there. He knows what he likes best. I don't believe he's. Oh my goodness! I mean, this is something that never figured to happen. He banked the ball cross-eyed, hitting the point, and then thrusting it back into the corner pocket. Now this is the. Whew.
And there you have it.
I mean,
another indecent chapter in the long history of 9-ball.
Both tables we just got run into there. Look at it.
And now it's like 1,000,000 to 1 that Nick breaks them and has a Shirley Temple or makes a 9 on the break.
Well, I'll tell you, that was very, very.
Well, you're grasping.
He came real close to making that ball. When it hits that deep into the side pocket and comes straight down into this pocket, believe me, he hit it pretty close.
I've changed my mind. I want it to go to 10 apiece, and I want somebody to rat the 9 in.
I think it's been a great match myself. I think it has been a great match. Alan Hopkins won his match on table 7 over Steve Mizrak, score of 11-9. So Alan advances and Mizrak gets an early departure. On table 8, Howard Vickery and Chris McDonald are knotted up at 8 apiece.
And you know, speaking of those two players, they've really performed well here this week in Norfolk. Vickery and McDonald have both defeated.
They sure have. They both spent a lot of time on the loser side.
And that loser side's not much fun, is it, buddy?
It'll sure make a man out of you.
Yeah,
Well, the answer to me this, Grady, is the loser side less fun than being up here with us?
Oh, that's like a pick'em proposition.
Well, I don't know if he can do much of anything right here, you know. I don't know. I think he's going to have to shoot out here or do something here. I don't believe he's going to elect to shoot this shot right like it lays. I don't think he can do anything with this shot. If he shoots this shot like it lays now, I think that he's making a grave error. He's got to do something to change the lay of the ball here. He's got to do something. I would push out here. I would push out in front of the 8 where I can get a little elevation on my cue stick where I can do something with the cue ball. I'd have to push out here. I would not shoot this shot. I wouldn't. I would push out in front of the 8. I'd push out in front of the 8 here where I could elevate my cue so I could draw the ball and bank the one back down table.
Well, I would just.
That's where I would push out. Right where he's at now, I would push out there.
If he pushes out to there, the man can. If he pushes out to where you said, the man can nip the edge of the 1 and come back down table, and he's dead.
Let him do that. He's still got to be hooked. He's dead right now if he doesn't push out there. He cannot do anything but push out there. What can he do?
He's got a lot of things he can do there.
Yeah, well, name one of them.
Well, how about pushing out so that he can maybe thin the one and come back down the table? That's a possibility
He
too.
could push out to a one-rail kick and hope Nick don't stick him one rail right behind it. You know what I mean? But believe me, he can't push out.
Well, I like him pushing out, but I like him pushing out by the side.
If he can hit this ball one rail past the 3, shooting straight at it right now, that's what he's got to do. If he can't do that, then he's going to have to push out. But if he pushes out over there,
I don't like it. He pushes out there. Nick's going to go ahead and stick him behind the 3.
Right. Nick's going to stick him. That's exactly right.
I don't like that shot. Nick is going to stick him behind the 3 now.
Well, this isn't a foregone conclusion.
It's not a.
Well, I agree, but as well as Nick kicks, he's going to stick him behind the 3.
I'll tell you what Nick might do. He might elect to go to the side rail over here and kick instead of the end rail.
No, he's going to go to the end rail here. And again,
No, he's
notice
gonna
him
kick him.
using the mirror system.
He's going to stick him behind the 3. There's no question he's going to stick him behind the 3 here. I thought he exercised very poor judgment in pushing out over there. Now, if Nick sticks him behind the 3, he's lost this match.
This isn't the easiest shot in the world here.
No, he's elevating his cue. He's liable. The cue ball liable to jump. Meanwhile.
Okay, now this is what you want, right? You want this? No, forget about this. You don't want this for your dough. You know, you want to push out to where he's got a fairly tough safety and a chance for you to kick it if he does safe you. But now he doesn't. The chances of him hitting this ball is about 1 in about 3.42. Wouldn't you say, Grady?
No, this is about an even money kick. If you use the one rail,
2 rails. He's got to
one
kick 2
rail
rails.
English system.
A 1 rail kick, buddy. I don't see a 2 rail kick.
No, he can.
Side rail and end rail.
I don't think he can hit that.
He's got plenty of room to go one rail.
1 rail is a kick here. Well, he's going to the 1 rail kick here. You can see that. It's obvious he's going to the 1 rail kick.
I'd go 2 rails at this shot. He's going 1 rail.
He's right on the money if he shoots easy.
Okay, well, he successfully hit the ball, and he's left Nick a very makeable ball here. A makeable shot on the 1 ball. Nick's going to go into the 6 if he elects to cut the 1 in the corner pocket. If he goes into the 6, there's a possibility he might get behind a 4-2 here, you know.
Or scratch. Or he could get snookered or scratched.
Real good chance he'd get behind the 4. Yeah. Really a good chance. He might elect to bank this ball.
And that's not totally wrong, banking this ball, you know.
What's not totally wrong here is shooting the 1 into the 6 and going 2 rails up table if he can hit it thin enough for that. If he can hit it thin enough for that, that may be the shot.
Oh, I think he can do that. Looks from this vantage point like he can.
Well, you know, if he can make the ball, you can bet he'll shoot at the ball in the corner pocket. He's going to take his chances, you know. He's going to be at the table leading 10 games to 9. And even if he does get hooked, it's still no guarantee that he can't win from there. So he's going to go ahead and shoot at this ball.
He's going to hit the 6. If he's going to hit the 6 here, he's going to hit hard enough to go 2 rails around the 4 and come back out above the 9.
Well, meanwhile, back
He's
at the ranch,
drawing.
I predict that if Nick shoots at this and doesn't make it and gives Mike a shot, he never gets to come back to the table.
He'd come around above it. I thought he'd have to hit the 4. The
Well, he
6.
made a great shot.
I'll tell you one thing. He's lied exactly perfect on this ball.
Made a nice shot, didn't he?
He's in perfect position on the 2 ball. He's going to go 2 rounds.
I'm going to tell you, this 4 ball is awful big here. With this equipment, the way the ball comes along, it stretches long.
No, he's not going to come anywhere near the 4
He
here,
can't
buddy.
go 2 cushions here. He's got to go 1 cushion.
No, he's going to go 2 cushions between the 9 and 8. He's going to go hit in
Okay.
front of the 8 here and go 2 cushions toward the 7.
The 4 is very big here.
Okay, now it's all elementary from here. I mean, it looks like that this man here is going to win this match 11 games to 9. It seems that way at least. 3 in the corner, 4 in the corner. The 5 to the 6 might create a small problem for him considering where the 9 is and the 7.
That's no more of a problem than an insignificant insect landing on your shoulder.
Okay, now...
That's how I think of you, Billy.
Okay, now
sometimes
what he's
when-
going to do here, I believe, is to go between the 9, 6, and toward the 7, play the 5 in the side, and take the natural angle right down the table.
I think he's going to go
I like that
9
way.
and 7.
I think he's going to go between a 9 and the 6, 9 and the 6, and toward the 7 that way. 2 reels toward the 7. 2 reels toward the 7. If he clears the 7, he got the natural angle. 1 reel, 2 reels toward the 7. That's the natural angle. Now he's home free. No, he's home free. He's going to go right between the 6 and 9. No problem here. No problem here. No problem here for Nick Varner. The only one that has a problem is Mike Sigel, because he's going to be thrusted into the loser side to face Alan Hopkins, Alan Hopkins, or Kim Davenport, or Howard Vickery, Chris McDonald. He's going to be with the boys on the loser side.
He's got to play the 7 over the other side.
Here goes 3 cushions here.
3 cushions is a good shot. It's a good shot, but you have to make sure you hit this hard enough. 3 cushions around, play the 7 in the side pocket. It's a natural shot. That's the natural shot. There's nothing wrong with that shot at all. Well, he has to hit it hard enough, and he's hit it a little short. But now he's going to probably play. Can he cut the 7 in the side, play the 8 up the other corner?
All right, I'm going to call this. It's my turn to call this. He's going 3 cushions. He's not going 1 cushion.
3 cushions where?
He's going inside the 9, 3 cushions.
He's going to play it in the corner if he's going to go 3 cushions.
He's playing it in this corner, go 2 reels in the upper corner.
Well, maybe he's got more of a severe angle than I think.
Grady.
That's what I see, cutting in the side and going 3 cushions, yeah. Like so.
That's exactly what he's done. 3 cushions. And it looks like he's going to take this match 11 games to 9.
And listen, if you guys become too disgusted with the correctness of my assessments, let me know.
Well, yeah, that was very brave of you. That was very brave of you to make to make an assessment. You finally came with something. You know, you were silent there for about 9 or 10 games without predicting anything.
Well, anybody...
All you were doing was telling a lot of stories about Jimmy Reed, Detroit Whitey, and then all of a sudden you finally were brave enough to come with a prediction.
Well, anybody that does commentary with you and Buddy is lucky to get a word in edgewise.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it was a very well played match. You've seen a lot of different strategies in the match.
And with that, Joe's
Joe,
leaving our booth.
Well, it was 11-9 Nick Varner, 11-9 Nick Varner, 11-9 Alan Hopkins. It'll be a very eventful day tomorrow with all the name brands that are left in this tournament.
Thank you.
As a matter of fact, I have to go to bed early. I have one with somebody.
And without further ado, why don't you tell me, do you want me to do anything besides the finals with you tomorrow, or just that?
Well, I don't know. We're still on the air here, and we're waiting for Nick Varner to come up here, and I guess we can discuss that in a short while.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, Nick. Okay, we're going to get Nick up here now, considering how much tape we have left. We don't have much tape left, and okay, here comes Nick Varner. He's stepping his way. He's making his way up here now. Okay, Nick, I know this is a relief for you. I mean, this is something that you so dearly wanted. I know you really wanted this to beat Mike Sigel in this match. I mean, you don't have to say anything, but I feel this is something that you wanted, and I know that you're relieved right now. But you played really, really well down there. I know that. How strong was the break on this table?
The break on this table, in case you don't make a ball, it might cost you 4 or 5 racks. I mean, when I was ahead 9-7 and came up dry, of course, I left him where he had to push out, but I figured it might be over with without me getting a chance to come back to the table.
That's exactly right. I mean, we figured that if you were behind 1 game breaking the balls, you probably were a slight favorite. Okay? That's
a slight favorite.
That was our assessment on that. You know?
Anytime this year that the match has been close, I make Nick about 20-1 to win it.
Well, we're talking.
Well, you're kind, Grady. You're kind.
I don't know if he's being kind, Nick. I mean, you should have been up here instead of down there. Anyways. The break was extremely strong on this table. Anytime you made an error on first error, or Mike made on first error, it was very, very costly. And not that you guys made any errors at all. You only made a few errors down there, both players. But you played extremely well, and we would like to congratulate you on this victory. You're once again left alone on the winner side, waiting for the battle on the loser side for the survivor to come over. And you got Kim Davenport, Mike Sigel, and what is the finals? Is it the best 2 out of 3 or what?
No, I think it's one race, but I'm not sure what the game count
Race
is. They
13.
talked about 13 and 15. I don't know what they decided on, but
I
really
think it's a
doesn't
race of
matter
13.
to me. I really don't care.
I know.
I'm in it.
You're in the spot you want to be in right now. I know it doesn't matter to you. In the meantime, you're left alone on the winner's side one more time, waiting for the survivor to come over. I know you feel good about it, and I know you feel extremely good about your win here tonight. And congratulations, Nick. I really want to congratulate you because you have had one heck of a year, and you deserve it.
Thank you very much, Billy.
We'll see you tomorrow, Nick.
Buddy and Grady, we have 15 seconds. Grady, if you be still for 13 of them, then you'll do your job. Buddy, it was a pleasure, buddy, working and doing this semifinal match with you. And Grady, added a little bit intermittently here and there. But, but we had a lot of fun up here. And the people that buy this, Dave, I'm sure they're going to be extremely entertained because without Grady Mathews, this would have been a complete failure. What do you
By the way, Bill, you will have to get one other announcer for the finals this time.
Yeah, that's what I said. Nick wanted to do the finals this time, so you're gonna have to put your jogging shoes on if you want to do the finals, Nick.
In all seriousness, I got to say that I thought that there was a special kind of camaraderie and togetherness up here. You two guys are two of my oldest and best friends, and I thought everything clicked here pretty well.
I thought we had a very good intermix here in the booth, and I think we're going to have to close now. So Grady and Buddy, I really enjoyed it thoroughly, and possibly we can all get together for the final match.
Why don't we do the final?
If you're not in it, you might not be in it, but if you're in the
Buddy
final
may be in
match,
it, that's right.
then you're going to have to put your jogging shoes on if you want to do it.
Well, if you're not by chance in it, and I hope you are in it, if you're not, let's plan on it. All three of us will do it.
Okay, Pat, you can take it away. Thanks a lot.